Well, I mean, it's not ideal, but the fact of the matter is we still have a number of tools available to keep people safe. I am undeterred. We're going to continue to move forward and do everything we can to keep people safe. And at the end of the day, every one of us knows that the single best tool we have to keep our COVID numbers down and to stay safe is wearing a mask. And so every one of us needs to take that action and follow the CDC, follow the science of and the epidemiology here so that we can stay safe and we don't see our economy take another severe hit with community spread.
What does this mean, though, for the states when it comes to coronavirus? How does the response to that? What does it mean?
Well, I think there are a lot of unknowns. I really do. We've seen something similar happen in Wisconsin, and now they're a national hotspot. So we're working to make sure that we understand the reach of the order and that we take action where we still have some tools to keep people safe. But I think at the end of the day, we all have to remember it's always been about every one of us doing our part. And that's why whether it's the court, whether it's the governor, we all know what the right thing to do is. We shouldn't have to have someone else tell us to do it. We got to hold each other accountable. We got to mask up. We got to practice physical distancing. We have to wash our hands. And I mean that's kind of where things are right now. But I think there will be more clarity. But certainly this is a time where there's a lot of ambiguity.
But if businesses decide they don't want to enforce mask rules, they don't have to, right?
That's not actually accurate. So the Department of Health and Human Services has epidemic authority where they can promulgate rules, and a mask order is one of them. I would anticipate. I think that'll be clear in short order.
Couple more.
Can you speak to a lot of people when they first think of your executive orders, they think, oh, we don't have to wear masks anymore, we don't have to do this. But you had 180 of them, and a lot of them were protecting people, the unemployment benefits. What were some of the unintended consequences you think are coming from this besides the PPE?
Well, Eric, I think that's a big, important question that we don't have clarity on yet. You know, this court decision has broad ramifications, whether it is when our taxes were due, whether it is who's eligible for unemployment. I think it's going to be incumbent on the legislature to get back to work. They only have a couple days on the calendar between now and the election, and yet we're talking about some potentially severe ramifications for Michiganders who need help. I was able to provide that help, but with this decision that 1945 power was wrongfully enacted in the first place, means a lot of that isn't going to be available anymore. And so I'm going to do everything I can to mitigate the harm, but this is going to have real ramifications, and the scope and breadth of it is unknown yet.
All right, one more, then we got to roll.
You talking about April 30th and non-forward. Is that the same? Are we talking about the same time frame here, or is it going to be all executive orders, or are you just unsure at this point?
Well, the Supreme Court essentially said, first, they upheld my use of the law. But what they said was the 1945 legislature didn't have the ability to confer that authority. So everything that was done under that authority does not have does not have the rule of law, essentially, the effect of being law now. So everything that was done, I think, is potentially problematic. And whether it's unemployment benefits, whether it was the ability to file your taxes later, whether it was protections for our frontline workers, all of those things are now in jeopardy. And so it wasn't just mask mandates, it wasn't just gathering numbers. There were a lot of important pieces that really helped people get through the pandemic, that kept people safe, and so we're scrutinizing each and working to see where we can take action with the tools that are available to us, and figuring out where we're going to need the legislature to take action. But this is part of the problem in a crisis. The legislature's not even in town now. They're only scheduled for a few days between now and the election. And some suggest that they weren't even intending on using those few days. So this is a part of the problem. But we'll try to do the best we can with what we've got. And I'm not giving up, and I am undeterred when it comes to protecting people.